Cyberpunk 2077 is a first-person RPG that takes place in a dystopian future not too far off from our own. The main story follows a mercenary named V after a heist gone wrong. V inserts an experimental biochip with an engram, the digitized consciousness of a separate human being that is slowly taking over her body and overriding her own consciousness. V is in a race against time to find some way to fix this before it kills her. Set in Night City, where the government has ceded control to greedy corporations, the streets are overwhelmed with crime, poverty, and gang violence. This high-tech, low-life trope is a staple of the cyberpunk genre. Towering neon cities, loud holographs, and cybernetic enhancements are contrasted with poverty, ruined underdeveloped areas, and just an overall low quality of life to exacerbate the wealth disparity between the rich and poor. An early game example of this is the rescue of Sandra Dorset, a woman who is captured by the scavengers who intend to harvest her cyberware in order to make a profit. Trauma Team, a corporation that responds to medical emergencies, should have been notified that she was injured via her biomonitor, but the scabs blocked the signal. Somebody who was looking for her pays a fixer who then hires V and Jackie to save her. Fortunately, they find her still alive in an ice bath and can get her to Trauma Team before it's too late. This is contrasted to the disappearance of Evelyn Parker. She was attacked with a virus meant to kill her. She survives but is left in a vegetative state with her awareness intact. During the time that she was missing, she was sexually assaulted by her boss who could not fix her chip, and then was passed off to a shady Ripper doc. He eventually sells her to scabs who use her body to make multiple brain dances, which are recordings that allow you to live out somebody's experience. Neither the police or Trauma Team assisted in finding her. Although V and Judy are eventually able to save her from the scabs, the unspeakable things that were done to her proved to be too much to handle, and she ends up committing suicide. The primary difference between these two characters is their class. Evelyn was a doll, or a sex worker, members of society who are often exploited and forgotten. Sandra is a wealthy corpo who had the Platinum Care package from Trauma Team. She was paying for premium medical service, and as soon as her signal was no longer being blocked, Trauma Team arrived within seconds to help. In Night City, everything is for sale. Your body, your soul, your experiences and memories, your organs, and your cyberware. Nothing is off limits. The only things that are revered are money and power. The wealth disparity displayed in Night City is so bad that the average person and the ultra-wealthy are practically living in separate realities. And yet, when V is shot and left to die in a garbage dump, she does not succumb to the monotonous, bleak reality of the city. She drags herself from under the rubble and survives. But why? Night City is bleak and nihilistic. The only possible life purpose seems to be earning money, but money is only a means to acquire something else. On its own, it is nothing. So what is the point of going on? How does Cyberpunk 2077 give meaning to such a nihilistic world? In the words of Percy Ransom, good dystopian fiction is rarely just a grim cautionary tale or a bird's-eye view of a suffering world. It takes a narrower scope, delving into the lives of the people in those societies, so that the audience can see how those characters despair or persevere, how they fail or are broken down, and how they cope with their circumstances. One of the few characters in the game whose full storyline is impossible to miss is Panam, a member of the nomad clan, the Aldecaldos. Something important to know about the Aldecaldos is that they were formed in the 90s out of necessity by impoverished families who lived under the threat of theft and violence because they had no protection from the police. In 2077, the Aldecaldos remain close-knit, only wanting to live free from corporate control. While trying to help V track down a man who could potentially fix the biochip, Panam shoots down a corporate AV. Many of her fellow Aldecaldos witness the AV going down and attempt to save anybody who may be involved in the crash. Panam has no way to warn them that the AV was corporate, and all of them except for one are killed. She instantly blames herself for their deaths, but Mitch, the lone survivor, does not. Instead, he comforts her, a rare moment of vulnerability in Night City. And even after being badly shot and losing so many people, Panam still wants to help V. V, who has come to understand how meaningless a promise is in Night City, doubts her sincerity, asking if Panam only intends to pay off her debts, implying that their relationship is purely transactional, as many relationships in Night City are. But Panam is serious and fully intends to fulfill that promise. Where Night City is indifferent, the Aldecaldos are compassionate. Upon entering Night City, Panam was screwed over by both Rogue and a gang member because she expected them to act in good faith, as her people would. Yet this does not change her values. She does not succumb to Night City's indifference. If there is no inherent purpose, then meaning is something that needs to be created. Panam and the Aldecaldos have nurtured bonds of trust and love that have given them reason to go on. Another character whose storyline can't be missed is Judy, who has also been burned by Night City's apathetic cruelty many times. She is an extremely talented braindance editor who could make it big at any major studio. However, she values her artistic integrity and truly believes in changing the city for the better, specifically wanting to help the dolls. In the past, she was manipulated by someone who promised to make life better for the dolls working at Clouds, but ultimately she used Judy's braindance editing skills to further her own career. Later, she joins the Mocs, intending to help as many dolls as she can. The Mocs are a small gang that operates out of one bar. They refer to themselves as the ones who protect the working girls and guys. Even still, the leader of the Mocs reprimands Judy for inviting too many dolls, for them with their limited resources to help. Still determined to make a change, Judy's next plan is to liberate Clouds from gang control. Although Judy always has good intentions, she doesn't seem to be able to plan for consequences. The gang comes back for revenge and they kill some of the dolls. Things never actually change in Night City. When one gang member is taken out, there will be more to replace him. If the fight for change is never ending, then what is the point? If the world is indifferent, then you must create meaning. Judy does not succeed in changing Night City, but she finds purpose in fighting for people who need it. She might not have been able to save Evelyn's life, but it mattered because somebody was fighting for her. Somebody cared. There are many different endings to the game, mostly ambiguous to V's fate. In what I believe to be the darkest ending, V commits suicide before the engram rewrites her consciousness. Even this has meaning because she makes it mean something. She chooses to die as herself instead of having her body taken from her. In what I believe to be the most optimistic ending, V finds a way to extend her life by 6 months and leaves Night City with the Aldecaldos in search of a more permanent solution. If V were to find a cure, then that still would not be the end. Life would go on and a new challenge would eventually arise. The point is not that V survives, but that she stays fighting and chooses to create meaning in a world that offers no inherent purpose. V gets to where she is through the relationships that she has formed with other people. If it weren't for the kindness of a Ripper Doc who patched her up for free, then her story would have ended in Act 1. Cyberpunk asks us not to despair in the face of an indifferent universe, but to make connections and create our own meaning.